And so that woke me up to, wait a minute, not all Trump supporters are like dangerous, evil individuals. And yes, it was stupid that I thought that to begin with. Like, I'm embarrassed admitting that, but it's just how I believed. And that kind of was one of the moments where it's like a light bulb went off and something was telling me, you need to scratch beneath the surface a little more because you don't have a realistic view of what's going on here.
So Ana Kasparian recently did a podcast where she opened up about the experiences that sort of led to her political transformation, right? This thing that she's been on for the past few years where she dropped a lot of the woke aspects of her leftism. She now identifies as politically homeless. She often calls out the totally ridiculous Trump derangement syndrome. And in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I really did find this video to be so interesting because Ana actually tells a story of how getting to know a Trump supporter in real life and realizing they were actually a really nice person, which is true of a lot of Trump supporters, by the way. Go to any MAGA rally, you'll realize they're actually the nicest and kindest and most compassionate people in America. But I figured that in the spirit of Thanksgiving, and especially when you have deranged characters on the left like Joy Reid arguing that you should not go to Thanksgiving if you have any family members who support Donald Trump, that this particular story of how, getting to humanize the other side actually led her to open her eyes on a lot of things was very, very interesting. So with that said, guys, do us a big favor. Be sure to hit that like button down below and subscribe if you are new. And why should you subscribe? Because it ensures we can keep bringing you these videos. We are trying to get to 400K before the end of the year. And, let's have a great Turkey Day by hitting that red button. How does it correlate? I don't know. Just hit the red button. Okay. With that said, guys, here is Ana opening up again on a life experience with this guy named Jeff that actually pushed her in the other direction.
And so I'm like trying to get his bicycle like up the stairs. And all of a sudden this man stops me. His name's Jeff. And he's like, hey, let me help you out with that. And he starts helping me out. He stopped everything he was doing to help me out. And then Jeff and I became very close. One of my neighbors who I really like, he was my favorite person in the entire building. And years go by. One day we're in an HOA meeting, homeowners association, and one of the people living in the building said something about Trump that was negative. I don't remember what it is. And Jeff whispers in my ear, "Oh, she's going to start trashing Trump. I'm out of here." And it hit me that he's a Trump supporter. We had never talked about politics before. And I'm like, so I got to know Jeff before I knew what his politics were. Incredibly kind guy. He helps everyone in this building with anything they might need. And so that woke me up to, wait a minute, not all Trump supporters are like dangerous, evil individuals. And yes, it was stupid that I thought that to begin with. Like, I'm embarrassed admitting that, but it's just how I believed. And that kind of was one of the moments where it's like a light bulb went off and something was telling me, you need to scratch beneath the surface a little more because you don't have a realistic view of what's going on here.
Wow, you don't say. A lot of Trump supporters are actually really nice people. Yeah, totally true. And some people were saying they don't even believe this story. I totally believe it because that's just how Trump supporters obviously not all of them, but like the typical stereotypical Trump supporter is unironically like this, right? Like, as much as these urbanite elitist liberals want to look down on us so much, let's be real about this. The average Trump supporter in this country is who? Okay, it's the firefighter who's going to save you from the burning building, regardless of your politics. It's the guy who, if you have a flat tire on the side of the road, he'll come in the pickup truck, just total charity, not asking. He'll just help you out for free, nothing in return. That's who MAGA is, right? That's the primary type of people in this country who support Trump. And it's very interesting to see what happens when hardcore and lifelong leftists simply step out of their bubble a little bit and realize this, right? And maybe that's a big reason why, again, Joy Reid, Sonny Hostin, people like that are going on TV and saying that you should not show up to Thanksgiving if your family supports Trump. Don't talk to them. Isolate yourselves from society. Just listen to our online propaganda because, as it turns out, as usual, when you actually dig deeper, when you actually touch some grass and interact with the real world, you'll realize that MAGA and the people within it are not really as crazy or mean mean or bad as they claim we are. And here is another clip where Ana will once again explain that TDS back in 2016 broke her brain, and she sort of says she was wrong for it. Very interesting. Take a listen.
I think that politics has substituted religion to some extent. People have almost like this religious zealotry toward their political beliefs. And when that happens, it's really difficult to have a conversation with someone without it immediately devolving into allegations of bad faith, of, lying, deception, all sorts of things. And so maybe that's part of it. But honestly, I didn't really notice this as an issue in America until Donald Trump was running for president, and then after he got elected as president. And I am 1,000,000% guilty of honestly allowing him to kind of break my brain for a little bit. Because I saw him as such a significant threat.
Yeah, so there you have it. Ana Kasparian kind of explaining how some personal experiences with Trump supporters, as well as obviously the infamous story, is that she got attacked by a crazy homeless guy in California, and that woke her up on the crime issue, which is, I think, pretty legitimate, honestly, and rational. You could say, oh, you're letting your personal experiences dictate your politics. It's like, okay, first of all, who does not do that? Let's be real. But also, secondly, the crime and homelessness in California is a real problem, okay? What happened to Ana is just a framework, or a caricature, I should say, of what's happening across that state. So I think it is very real and very legitimate. But of course, the generic response from the left has been, so you got attacked and you just want to demonize people? But I would also point out, Ana has legitimately thought about some of these things in terms of the policies, in terms of the issues. And here's just one example of that, where she explains why she now believes that the Remain in Mexico policy that Trump instituted actually did work.
And certain reversals of Trump-era immigration policies, which at the time I didn't give Trump credit for because he wasn't really applauded for it. And I didn't realize that, the Remain in Mexico policy was actually very successful. And Biden reversing it did lead to the crisis at the border that ended up being a political liability that backed him up into a corner. And suddenly he's hitting up Republicans in the Senate, asking them to write legislation that Republicans would like. So there are some flaws on the left for sure. And I think it's important to be real about those flaws.
So yeah, look, I'm not saying that Ana is about to become a MAGA warrior tomorrow, although at times on TYT she has almost played that role to an extent. But I do think that what you saw from Ana is a prime example of what happens when like a hardcore California leftist for most of her life opens her mind a little bit, right? Sort of leaves that bubble. And it's refreshing, frankly, to see to some extent. And I think, again, in the spirit of Thanksgiving and what Joy Reid and people like that have been saying, that this is precisely why, for instance, the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC especially, are so panicked about the fact that X is a thing and that online media is becoming more prevalent than they are, because they know that this bubble that they're trying to keep people in, where it's just orange man bad, Republicans are Hitler, etc., just is not realistic, okay? And the more that people kind of explore a bit, it's not guaranteed that they're going to be Trump voters, but it is very likely that they're like gonna become sort of more reasonable on these issues. I don't know. Like they might realize that, for instance, crime is a real problem. I know it's crazy, right? Crime is bad. Okay. Illegal immigration is an issue, etc. Right? People will open their eyes, and people will also start to realize, again, if they go interact with the real world, that Trump supporters are not these big, bad, evil people that they claim. In fact, again, they're some of the most charitable people in this country. And that's, again, precisely why they're so threatened by it. So anyways, that said, just wanted to share that a little bit. Found it to be interesting. It's crazy, by the way, what just being nice, even to someone who is liberal as a Trump supporter, can do. So just remember that, okay? Remember that. Next time you see someone out in public or whatever, like someone needs your help, whatever, and you think they may be a liberal, first of all, it's crazy just flat out to even consider that in like the real world in a genuine time of need. But also keep in mind, who knows, if we all acted like Jeff right here in that opening clip, maybe some people would come around. I don't know. I'm just saying, right? Ana's a prime example of that. But anyways, with that said, guys, everyone have a happy Thanksgiving. Be sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe if you are new. And until next time, God bless and peace.